We are live. Yes. Oh, I can hear myself, the echo. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm so excited. Let's see who we have on board. Carol's going to be tagging everybody today. And we have a special guest. We have international speaker, author, and mindset coach, Cornell Thomas today. Woo!
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us. I want to just go ahead and get started because I know we don't have that much time together, but I do want to, ask you a few things, tell everybody who you are, where you started, where you came from, and then go from there.
Sure. So my name is Cornell Thomas. I'm from New Jersey, Passaic, New Jersey originally. I started kind of in adversity. And when I go and speak, it doesn't matter where I go. That's one of the first things that I say. I started in adversity. When people ask me, well, how do you start in adversity? It's because my earliest memory as a child, one of my earliest memories is my father's funeral. My father passed away when I was 4 years old. He was a police officer in the city of Passaic, New Jersey. And my father's passing kind of transformed my mom into this lioness that I know today. Like back in the days, the men worked and the women took care of the kids and all this other stuff and blah, blah, blah. And my mom, there's 5 of us. So my mom was taking care of 5 kids. My father worked 16 hours and he passed. And now she went from taking care of the kids to taking care of the kids being the main provider. And I got to see what adversity was at a very early age. And that kind of shaped who I am today because my mom is all about the solutions. She's never been about problems. And I remember like one of my earliest memories is my mom telling us that everything happens for a reason. And sometimes you don't understand what that reason is when you're in the storm, right? Like when you're in the thick of it, you're like, yeah, that's some mumbo jumbo crap, right? Because you're like, well, why would this happen to me? So like being a young man, I'm sitting there like, well, why would I grow up without a father? And it really wasn't until I had my son that I realized, why I grew up without a father, because there's no job that I appreciate more than being a dad, growing up without one. But I went through my life, Joanna, just kind of drifting. I didn't know, I had no connection to anything, elementary school, middle school, half of high school up until my sophomore year. I just didn't connect with anything. There was nothing that I was like, okay, I want to be this, or like, I want to be known for this. And it wasn't until I found basketball when I was 16 years old that I fell in love for the first time. Actually, the first time I fell in love was with Lisa in the Cult Jam. I was a freshman. Like that was like the first time. I'm dating myself, but like that was the first time I fell in love. Like Lisa in the Cult Jam was my first crush, and then my second crush was basketball. And I was so bad at it. I was so horrible at it. I always say like success sometimes is solitude. It was just me and a ball for a very long time, but I promised my mom that I was going to play professional basketball so she never had to struggle again. Like that was my reason. Like people talk like, what's your why? Like my why was I want to make sure this woman can actually like sit down and not have to work. So I worked out 6, 7, 8 hours a day, never went to a prom, didn't go to parties. To this day, I don't drink, don't smoke, any of that stuff. It was just all basketball. And I got good enough to go get a scholarship to play in North Dakota. I got good enough to get a contract to play professional basketball. And then a week before I was supposed to go over, I ruptured my Achilles tendon. So, you hear about dream deferred, right? Like all this work, and there's so much to the story. There's so much sacrifice that had to happen for me to get to that point, to get to that level. And then in an instance, I ruptured my Achilles and my contract was voided. And the next day, I'm watching my mom walk to one of the 3 jobs I told her she'd never have to work again. So that was kind of the first transformative event in my life. The second, really, the first was my father being, passing away. And then the second was that. And I started, getting into complete why me mode. Like, why did this happen to me? I'm like, you curse the heavens, right? Like, God, why would this happen to me? I'm good to people, blah, blah, blah. This is for my mom. Like, you're punishing. My whole mindset was like, you're punishing her. Like, I'm going to get better, but like me not doing this, like you're punishing her. And she's like such a God-fearing and faithful woman. And I just didn't get it. I didn't understand the everything happens for a reason. I was just in why me mode. And I started thinking about how we were raised. And I started thinking about, coming home from school and our lights being shut off because we couldn't pay the bill. And my mom just walking in and giving out flashlights and lighting candles, or us not having hot water and my mom boiling cold water and putting in the bathtub, mixing it, and us so we can take baths. And I said, Cornell, if your mom was this type of solution-oriented person, you have that in your DNA. Like you saw this firsthand. this is who you are, and you're worried about something that's going to heal. Not discrediting that this is a problem, that this sucks. Like, that's the thing. Like, you hear a lot of these motivational speakers almost shame people for having human emotions, right? It's like, you're okay. Like, pick yourself up. Don't be soft mentally. It's like, no, dog. Like, I'm a human.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when bad stuff happens in your life, it is completely okay for you to process it and have some of these negative emotions. But I tell people, you can have those negative emotions, you can sit in them, but you can't lay in them. Like, if you make your bed in them, that's where all the things start going crazy inside of your body and your mind. And life becomes a bad place. It becomes a dark place. So I had to pick myself up and keep training. And eventually it led me in this direction of speaking after coaching and a lot of other different paths that I went down.
Wow. So yeah, so is adversity, overcoming it, facing the fears of why this, why that, and then turning it into something successful.
Yeah.
For the reason
Yeah.
of your mom
Yeah.
and yourself, right?
Yeah. Fear is not, I mean, it sounds crazy, I'm going to say this, but like, fear is not a bad thing, right? Danger is a bad thing. There's a difference between fear and danger. Fear is something that we concoct in our mind because we've been brainwashed and the system has told us what we should be afraid of, right? We should be afraid of each other, right? We should be afraid of this. We should be, if you really think about it, right? We're wearing these little flesh suits. We can fall the wrong way and die. So if that's the case, like, we wouldn't leave the house, right? Because if I trip down my stairs, I could possibly die. So like, I mean, there's 1,500-ton vehicles that are going 80 miles per hour, 90 miles per hour past us all the time. So like, if we want to live in fear, we just stay in the house. But society wants to keep you in that box because they're afraid of what will happen when you get out of it. They're afraid of what happens when you unplug yourself from the matrix. So like, I use the fear as fuel for me. Like, oh, this is making me a little nervous. Let's go explore that. Why is it making me nervous? Let's get to the root of it. You gave me this amazing lesson on chakras yesterday, and you're talking about the root, right? Like, that's how I am with the problems. Like, what is the root of this problem? Like, where is it literally coming from?
Let's lift the Band-Aid up.
Let's lift the Band-Aid. Yeah, and let's go. Like, what's under it, right? So, and that's such a great analogy, because when you're younger and you get a scratch or whatever, you like slowly look under the scratch to see what's like wrong with the injury. And then your mom like rips it off. She's like, you're fine, go ahead. Like, go ahead and go, you do your thing. And I think that's the thing. It's like we put so many Band-Aids on different things, and we're so fearful of everything. And my mom did not raise me to be a fearful person. She didn't raise me to be scared. Now, if there's legit danger, right? Someone has a gun there in front of you, that's different. But if it's something like me not pursuing a goal because society doesn't think I should be in that box, right? Or my neighbor who doesn't like me thinks that I'm not smart enough or not good looking, whatever it is, then that's something that I'm concocting up here.
Right. So how do you think that all of that has translated into your passion? Like, what are you really, truly passionate about?
I'm passionate about what we're doing right now. I'm passionate about people. Like, I love people. And I want to make a distinction. I don't love a-holes. I mean, I'm not Jesus Christ. I'm being honest. Like, I'm being real with you. Like, I don't love a-holes. Like, whatever you are on your journey, it's not time for us to meet or have a conversation, right? Because I don't need that energy in my space, right? I love people like you, Joanna, that are, and I'm not just saying this because we're friends. I'm just saying, like, that's how we connected. I love people that have that just dope energy. Like, you can tell they're about other people. That's why I love to go and travel and speak and go to Saudi Arabia and Africa and all these different places, because you start realizing that the world, like, we're all the same in terms of humans. We all have adversity. We all have these fears. We all have all this other stuff. Our pigmentation might be different, right? But again, it's a flesh suit. It's like we're in Halloween. You're wearing a freaking Scream mask. I'm wearing an It mask, right? There's still a human underneath. So I just look at it like, I love talking to people, connecting with people, and just sharing as much information as I can. That's all I am. God has made me a vessel. I get downloaded information. I let it out. I forget all of it. And then I go on to the next thing.
Awesome. Yeah. The passion that comes out when you speak, I mean, that's what gravitates people towards you. I mean, I remember when we first met, from there on, I mean, I was stuck with you. Like, I couldn't get away. I'm like, he needs to be in my life because he's the type of person that we're on the same wavelength,
Yeah.
and your positivity is always something that, you're always speaking about, and you're always, quote of the day, quotes turn to blogs, blogs turns to books.
Mm.
What would you say is one of your best books that have changed, your
Yeah.
life that
My
you've
book
written?
that I wrote, or the book that I wrote?
That you've written,
Okay.
yes.
I would have to say it's the first one. And the only reason I would say it's the first one and not maybe the third one is because there were so many obstacles that I had to overcome to make the first one. And a lot of them were my own, it's my own stuff, right? Like
Mhm.
a lot of the obstacles were like, who's going to want to read this freaking book? Right? Like who cares? Like who cares? That's what people think about when they're about to write a book. And then I was so emotionally introverted. And it wasn't on a like toxic masculinity, I'm a man, I can't cry thing. It wasn't because of that. It's because I kept my emotions inside because I didn't want my mom to worry about me.
Mhm.
And that started when I was very little. And I kept it all the way through adulthood. And that's the thing with habits. When you habitually do something, you don't even know you're doing it. So I was so emotionally introverted. And my son was about to be born. And Joanna, it's like something just, my heart just like opened up. It's like, no, you can cry and let all these years, these decades of holding that stuff in, you can let that out. And there's a chapter in my first book called A Letter to Bobby. It was a letter to my father. And I was always too scared to write that. I've always wanted, since I was 14, I've always wanted to write a letter to my father. I was too scared to write it because I didn't know what was going to happen to me emotionally. I didn't know if I'd ever be able to stop crying. And I remember I was writing it in Starbucks and just, I didn't even know, like just tears started coming down my face. And I closed my laptop up and I went into my car and I just started crying. Like I just started crying. Like I was by myself. I just started crying. And I didn't know when it was gonna stop and I didn't care. I just like let it all out and I was petrified of the emotion. Like I couldn't believe that like I got so overcome with emotion that I'm like crying as I'm writing. And I knew then when I started writing this book, I was like, there's a reason for this. This has to come out because
You had a
there's someone that feels
breakthrough.
like me. I had a breakthrough. I was like, you gotta, and even when you speak, it's like you have to let people into that vulnerability. And when I first started speaking, I was again very fearful of that because I didn't want to like not be able to stop crying. I didn't want to be able to like I just want to be able to continue my thought. So a lot of times you see my old speeches, like I joke through some of the hard stuff instead of like letting it sit with the audience and say like, look, and when I started being more vulnerable, the audience started really connecting even more on a deeper level. It's like they felt like they knew me,
Right.
right? And that's why I tell people, not just men, there's plenty of women that have stuff inside that don't let it out. Like there's plenty of humans that don't let things out. I tell people, man, like, look, you can't hold that in for too long. It's so harmful for you. Like at some point in time, you got to let that out. And I'm just so grateful that, I'll never forget 4:28 a.m., June 4th, 2013 was when my son Bryce was born. And the nurse gave me my son and it was just me and her. And I'm looking at him and Joanna, I'm telling you, I saw me as a child and I saw from him from that day, 20 years forward. Like in a second, like all the things that we're going
That
to
was
do,
your
like,
third eye right there.
everything.
Whoa.
And I'm sitting, I'm like, and I'm holding him and like tears are coming down my face. I'm just like, there's nothing more important than this. Like there's nothing more important than what I'm doing right now. Like holding this little human in my hand, there's nothing more important. And I look at my kids sometimes and I cry. Like I just look at them. I get emotional because I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for the opportunity that we were picked to have these kids. Right. So yeah, there's just so much. Like I love, that's why I love waking up, because I get to wake up and I get to talk to you. I get to talk to these beautiful people that are in the comments, right? That I want to talk to all of them at the same time. I get to talk to these beautiful people in the comments and I get to see my family. So that's why I say to everybody, no matter how your day is going, it's a blessing that we're awake.
I love that. And I wanted to ask you, like, what would you tell the audience? And if they have any questions, feel free to put it on the comments. But
Mm.
what would you tell them as far as advice? Um, Not just for just any adversity and how to level up, but which is what advice would you give them? Because here we're dealing with suppressing these emotions,
Yeah.
overcoming all these obstacles so that we're able to level up to the next, stage. And I wanted to bring you on here because you helped me level up when it came to speaking. And, I went to you and I was like, hey, I need help speaking because I'm too scared to go live on Instagram. And you're like, get on my Zoom right now and we're going to go live. And I wanted to kill you. But it helped. And, we know who to go to when we need help, and we all need a cheerleader. So I think it's important to have a cheerleader. I think you're an amazing cheerleader, and you've helped me overcome my obstacles. So how can you help our audience in a general state overcome any of their obstacles? I mean, besides your story and everything.
Yeah. One of the first things that I say, and I'll speak, directly to all of you beautiful people that are here right now. One of the first things that I say is, how long are you willing to wait? Now let that sit. Like, how long are you willing to wait? Like, how long are you willing to wait to pursue what you want to pursue, to go after what you want to go after, to be who the hell you want to be? How long are you willing to wait? I get goosebumps saying that to you right now. I can't even see your faces. And I get goosebumps saying that to you because some of you on this chat right now are waiting. And my question is, what are you waiting for? Right. We are not guaranteed time. Time is a freaking illusion. It is something that we don't have. We're not guaranteed it. We have no idea when our last breath will be. Doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, black, white, Muslim, Christian, whatever. We have no idea. No one can predict that. So what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for the perfect time? Because the perfect time does not exist. Are you waiting for the perfect opportunity? Because the perfect opportunity does not exist. You have to create it yourself. Well, how do you create it? You stop sitting down and playing small. Mm-hmm. All this BS about 10x your life and blah, 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 and all this other crap, it all starts here. It doesn't start with anybody else. Joanna told me, I am petrified to go on a live. I said, Joanna, we're going to go on a live right now. She said, can you give me 5 minutes? What changed from those moments all the way up until that conversation to this woman saying, can you give me 5 minutes? In 300 seconds, her mindset shifted from, I'm never going to do this to, oh, shit, I hate this guy, but we'll do it once. Right? 300 seconds. It shifted. So that tells you there's power inside of you. You can do this, but you can't wait, man. You can't wait. The place that has the most dreams is the cemetery. The cemetery has trillions and trillions and trillions of dreams. Dreams that stayed with the person that owned them until the flesh suit passed away and their souls moved on. Right? I'm going whenever it is. I'm going to be damn near empty. I'm getting all of it. I'm getting every single freaking thing I want to do. I'm making it happen, right? Like there is no tomorrow. You plan for tomorrow and you focus on today. Say that again. You plan for tomorrow and you focus on today.
Yes, right? Focus on the now.
Focus on the now. Because if you're focusing on today, then tomorrow is going to be dope, right? And if you focus on today and you don't make it till tomorrow, guess what? Those plans are in place for someone to get them, pick them up, and run with them. Right? Hopefully, maybe your kids or someone in your family, or maybe a good friend that if I'm not here anymore and I'm doing positivity, I do positivity summit, someone else is going to take it and they're going to go with it and they're going to make it great. Right? But you can't sit. So that's all I would say is this. And it's not some big leap, right? Sometimes it's small incremental steps. Sometimes it's baby steps, right? Even babies, it might take them an hour to get from the island to the couch, and they might fall 1,000 times, but they get there. Even baby steps are steps, right? So if you have to take Joanna going on live to someone else, it might be like, oh, that's not a big deal. That's just a baby step. No. That's a leap. That's freaking jump out the plane, no parachute. Hopefully the tree branch catches me, leap. Yes. Right? So just that's what I would say. Just stop waiting. You guys are dope human beings. Carol, Michelle, all of you guys, Christina. You guys have it all in you. Consuelo, like it's there. Just do it. Just freaking do it.
Thank you. Yes. And speaking of time, we never know when our last breath will be. And we are left with our legacy. We're left with just the moments and the memories behind. So it's like, what moments or what memories do you want to instill in people? Like this is a moment that we're having that I'm going to hold on to, and it's going to just remain in my memory. So I feel like with time ticking and the fact that we never know, when our last breath will be, that's that pressure to just take your dreams and run with them,
Yeah.
like that's what excites me to get up every morning. It's like I have things that I want to do and I need to do them fast because you never know.
Yeah. I love that. Like, I love that. That's what excites you, right? That scares some people.
Yeah.
And we're framing it wrong, right? Some people, they're scared. Oh, I don't have that much time. Well, imagine if you're in an amusement park, right? So I'm the Papa Bear, right? And all you guys are my kids, and we're at the amusement park. And I say, Joanna, Michelle, Christina, Brenda, Consuelo, you guys have 1 hour and the car is leaving, right?
You froze.
I'm sorry. If I don't know where I was, but I'm in the amusement park. You guys are all my kids. I say we have 1 hour before I leave. What would you guys do? You burst out. You go to the different rides. You hit different rides. You get funnel cake, right? Michelle might go get a balloon. Like someone else might get some cotton candy. Like we're all running around like crazy. And then you get to me in an hour and you'll be exhausted and tired. Like, Dad, that was awesome. Or you can sit there and be like, well, Daddy, I don't want to leave in an hour. And you can sit there and waste that hour complaining. Or you can take that hour and make the most of it, right? So it's like, that's the mindset you have in terms of like, I'm going to take the hour and make the most. I'm the same. I'm going to take the hour and go crazy with it. Crazy.
Nikki said, my confidence isn't always there. What would you say to that?
And it's not always going to be, Nikki. That's what's important to understand, right? Like anyone that says they're confident 24/7, 365 and never has a moment of doubt.
That's a lie.
Right? That's a lie. But I'm going to tell you something, Nikki. I'm going to tell you something. You cannot let doubt stop your do, my friend. It's okay to doubt. It's okay not to have confidence sometimes, but you can't let it stop your action, right? Because we're on borrowed time. It's not our time. We don't know when it's coming, right? So why would you ever let it stop you? Okay. And then you have to go to the root, right? Like, why don't I have confidence? What's that limiting belief? Who told me something back in the days? Who told me that I shouldn't be confident? What dude, what person, what relationship, what teacher, what coach told me something that made me think that I wasn't priceless? Nikki, check this out. You are one in like 400 trillion. You were picked to be on this earth. Christina, same thing with you, and Brenda, and Michelle, and Consuelo, and Carol, and me. We were 1 in 400 trillion. Do you understand what the odds is to win the lottery? 1 in 175 million. I talked about this in my TED Talk. So if 1 in 175 million, you can win the lottery. We're 1 in 400 trillion. What does that mean? We're priceless. We're a Picasso. We're one of never again. We're one of never again. You will never occupy this body again. You're priceless. So why would someone who is priceless, why is someone who was chosen to be here not understand how dope they are? Not believe in themselves every single day, right? We're doing ourselves a disservice. My friend, you are priceless, okay? You are one of one. Never again will there be another Nikki, ever, right? That is a beautiful thing. And I always remember that information when I start to doubt.
That's awesome. That was perfectly said. There's nothing
I love
else you
these.
could say.
I love every single one of these people on here. I wish I can hug all of you guys.
They're
I'll tell you right
awesome.
now, I wouldn't have a mask on. I'd hug you. No fist bump, no elbow crap. I'd give you a big bear hug, and we go from there. I'm just letting you guys know.
That's so amazing.
I feel it. Joanne, you asked me something the other day. You said we were talking in the class, and you said something about like when the people aren't in front of you.
Yeah.
And I talked to you about energy, right? And this is what I mean. I cannot see these amazing people. I feel them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them. I feel them. If I didn't feel them, I wouldn't have goosebumps the whole entire time.
I just got goosebumps before you said that. That's crazy. Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it doesn't matter if you're in front of me or not. Like, because this is all downloaded for us, Joanna. Right? So I can feel their energy. Like, I feel like I know them already. Right? Because our souls are supposed to freaking meet. How amazing is that? Our souls are supposed to meet. That is so cool, right? And here we are. Here we are. We're from all over the different places, and here we are together for this half hour, and our souls are meeting. Finally, our souls have been looking for each other this whole entire time, and now we found each other. That's dope.
Yep, and we'll take away something from it that will stay with us in our hearts forever, and
Love it.
we're just so appreciative of that. For those of you that want to know more about Cornell, I'm going to put his website right here, because he's got amazing events, the Positivity Summit, so many things, the books. And so he also has an app, which I want to show you. It's called Wake Up World. And so make sure to download that, because there's prompts in there for you to journal, different coaching advice from him, and quotes of the day. I love it. So yeah, all this amazingness right here, you can continue to follow. Where else can they follow you so that they can?
Just message me. Like on Instagram, it's at Cornell Thomas 34. On Facebook, it's Cornell Thomas. Joanna is a good friend of mine. You can find me through there. Message me. I'm not a kind of dude that if I'm like, message me, yeah, connect, and I don't connect. You message me, I'm going to message you back, and we're gonna have a conversation. So just be aware, like if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna shoot him a message, and you message me, and then I message you right back, and you're like, oh crap, he really did message me back. Like that's what I do. So just understand, do not message me if you don't want me to message you back, because I'm gonna hit you right back.
I love that. I love that. And I'm actually, for those of you that don't know, I'm actually taking his program, Get in the Game, and it's actually a speaker program, because I'm leveling up in my own way. So I'm all about that throat chakra and needing to express my truth, and so he's helping me with that. So
He's doing amazing.
I can't wait until he opens up his next one and see how many people join his program. And yeah, there's so much that's coming in the future, and I'm so excited that, I mean, the way we met was crazy. First of all, because I was locked up in the basement for 45 minutes on a Periscope call. And so that's a whole story within itself, but I will never forget it, because we were doing an improv, and everybody had their part, and I was the one that was trapped in the basement. They all forgot about me, and they were about to log off, and I'm like, but wait, I'm still in the basement. And from there, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was up forever, just amused, because you have this way to just amuse people and keep them engaged and everything. So I love that about you. I love your positivity and your mindset and how you deliver it to everybody. So I just had to have you come on here, share this with these wonderful, amazing people in our tribe, because we are here to learn how to love our life. And you loved your life. I love that about the fact that you love your life. And so what better way to express that than to come on to I Love Your Life tribe and talk about it. So
it's a beautiful space, and like thank you so much for having me. And you're gonna get me choked up, but thank you so much for having me. And it's like just such a beautiful space, and you have amazing human beings. And understand, Joanna, you are a magnet. You're gonna just keep attracting these beautiful people, and they're all magnets, and we're gonna all come together. So never ever ever think, first off, turn the news off. And then when you do that, understand like the world is not coming to an end because we exist in it. And when people like Joanna exist in it, people like you all exist in it, and we're finding each other, the movement's only going to get bigger. So don't think there's hopelessness, right? Just turn your TV off and just use your eyes to see.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate everything that you brought to the table. And I look forward to having you maybe come on board some other time in the future.
Anytime you need me, I will be here. I promise you that.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
Thank you guys. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Bye.